Good morning, children. I hope you have seen the previous video. And in all the previous videos, I have given in depth about the definition of political science, why political science is important, and what we have to study, what dimensions of political science are there, and what in that we have to study, the key subjects, the topics, and why political science is a science where we have done the proof, and in fact where we have done some arguments also that never declared political as a science, right? Though at last we have seen through different scientific and empirical approaches, political science is a science. At last it is proved by many political scientists, and we come to know that yes, politics and political science is one and the same thing according to the contemporary view, according to the modern political scientist, right? Everyone, either they call it politics or they call it political science. Political science, the manner of governance, right? The administrative department, how they are managing, which forms of ideas they are implementing so that they can work efficiently, right? So before coming though that chapter, you have to very much focus on the videos, then only you will come to know what is political science in depth, though there are many words that you came across, right? But if you listen to the video again, you will get those words. Clear, everyone? So here I'm going to start with chapter 2nd, and that is the fundamental concepts, means state, government, nation, and nationality. Now this chapter is the most easiest chapter, right? Though it is not linked with the first chapter. Clear? But in the first chapter we have to be aware ourselves ki why we have to study political science and what is the political science all about. Basically, political science is a science of state and government, and here in chapter 2nd I'm going to explain you about what is the state, why we need the government, and why we need government to look after the welfare of the public, why we cannot exist beyond without states and government, why is it necessary. So obviously, if you remember in the very first video, I've already explained you what is the need of political science. And political science, you all have to study about state and government, their implementation, their executions of plan and policies. Clear, everyone? And later on they merged, they started using various techniques, various processes. Clear, everyone? So that they can prove कि yes, all these things has been existed so far. Clear, everyone? So let's start with political science, and that too with a new chapter, and that is chapter 2, fundamental concepts, state, government, nation, and nationality. I'm going to explain topic by topic. Clear? So I'm going to very first of all I'm going to start with the state first. Before that, I'm going to explain you few things. Clear? Let's start with that. Now, if you see, state and government, always remember bache, state and government are the main objects of study in political science. In political science, what you all have to study? You all have to study about the state and the government. All political studies revolve around state and government. Always remember, political science originated from state and government itself, right? In fact, in its traditional way, politics continues to be identified as political science and defined as the science of state and government that I have already explained you. Right? One scholar has observed that state is as old as history and politics is as old as the state. All students of political science have to have a clear understanding of the meaning of state, government, and society, as well as the differences between these three: state, government, and society. You need to be aware about differences that I'm going to tell you later on, right? What is the state, what is the government, and what is the society? Now, again, each human being is born in a society and he lives his life as a citizen of a state. He is governed by the government of the state. He inherits by birth the citizenship of a state. He lives under the rule of the government and carries out its laws, policies, order, rules, decision, regulation, right? Hence, it is essential for each one of us to study state and understand the difference between state, government, society, and association. That I am going to explain you, right, topic by topic. Now, next, let's come on to the main definition of the state. What is the state all about? Now, always remember, a state is a sovereign political institution of the people living in an organized society. Each one of us lives under the supreme power of the state, enjoys right and freedom, and performs several duties as a citizen of the state. Clear, children? Next, in ancient Greek, the word polis was used for identifying the small city state. It was because of the fact that Aristotle gave the title Politics to his book, which discussed the origin, nature, and function of the Greek city states. However, later on, the term state came to be universally used for describing every big or small political unit exercising supreme power over its people. So, it is a unit, right, everyone? It is a sovereign political institution, internally, externally free from control, right? And here, people living in an organized society. Then we were living under the supreme power of the state. Here in the state, we are enjoying rights, freedoms, and perform several duties. Now let's come to the word state. Now the word state has been derived from the Latin word status, which means a particular social position. Since the ancient time, no difference was made between state and society. The term state came to be used for describing the status of the person as citizen. Gradually, the term state came to be used for the political institution, organization, which exercised supreme power over the people living in its territory. In simple word, we can define a state as a large community of persons occupying a definite territory and exercising sovereign power through its government. So, I hope so, children, it's been cleared now. What do you mean by term state? We can define a state as a large community of persons occupying a definite territory and exercising sovereign power through its government. Right, sovereign. How can it is managing without anyone's invasion, without anyone's domination. It is help of its government. The more stronger the government, the more efficient the administration should be. Clear? So we can conclude by saying that a state is a politically organized community of people which is occupying a definite portion of territory and is exercising sovereign power through its government over all the persons and places falling in its territory. It is not under any external control. It is described as a sovereign, independent, politically organized community of the people. Then, a state is a political institution, organization, as well as a territorial sovereign entity. Its prime responsibility is to provide security, peace, order, and governance to its people. The people have to continuously and habitually obey the laws of the state. So I hope so children, you people have understood what do you mean by the term state. Right? So it is a sovereign political institution, clear, of the people living in an organized society, follows supreme power and enjoys rights. In ancient Greek, the word polis was used for identifying small city states, big or small political unit, obviously you can work, and then it described as again is a sovereign like institution. Clear? Let's move on to another slide now. Now, elements of the state. Now, state is comprises of four elements, children. We have population, territory, government, sovereignty. So now, the very first of all, I'm going to start with you with what? With the topic population. Okay, so let's start with the population. Now, what do you mean by the term population? A state is a community of person everyone knows. It is a human political institution, clear? Without a population, there can be no state. Population can be more or less, but it has to be there. There are states with very small population like Switzerland, Canada, and there are states like China and India with a very large populations. The people of a state are the citizen of the state. They enjoy right and freedom as citizen as well as perform duties towards the state. When citizens of another state are living in the territory of the state, they are called aliens. All the persons, citizens as well as aliens who are living in the territory of the state are duty bound to obey the laws and policies of the state. The state exercises supreme authority over them through its government. In contemporary time, the government of the state is organized and constituted by the people and is responsible and accountable to them. Such a government is identified as a democratic government. So in a democratic government, public vote and forms the government, right everyone? Here population vote to form the government. In which kind, in which type? In a direct election. Then there is no definite limit for the number of population essential for a state. However, it is recognized that the population should be either large nor neither should be large nor very small. It has to be within a reasonable limit. It should be determined on the basis of the size of the territory of the state, the available resources, the standard of living expected, and the needs of defense, production of goods and supplies. India has a very large and fast growing population, and there is every need to check the population explosion. It is essential for enhancing the ability of India to register a sustainable high level of development. Right, children? So I hope so people have understood why we need a population, and why we don't need the population explosion. Like that means we have to have a balanced population in the state, so that state government can provide efficiently the welfare of its citizens. Clear, children? The population needs to be checked, because population has to match with the resources available in the country. Clear? Let's move on to another element, and that is the territory. Okay, let's move on to territory now. Here, the territory now. Territory is the second essential element of a state. A state is a territorial unity or entity. Definite territory is its essential component. A state cannot exist in the air or at sea. It is essentially a territorial state. The size of the territory of a state can be big or small. Nevertheless, it has to be definite and a well marked portion of territory. States like Russia, Canada, USA, India, China, Brazil, and some other are large size states, whereas Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Switzerland, Togo, Brunei, and several others are states with small territories. The whole territory of the state is under sovereignty. That means the supreme power of the state. All person and organization, associations, institutions, and places located within its territory are under the sovereign jurisdiction of the state. The state can regulate all this in all respects. Clear, everyone? So within a territory, what we required? The whole territory of the state is under sovereignty. Whatever sovereignty means, internally, externally free from control. And what is there in the state? That means no one can dominate the state. A state should be having a fixed territory. And within the territory, what are all components are there? That means the person, be it persons, organization, associations, institutions, and places, right? It is all coming under the jurisdiction of the state. Jurisdiction means ambit, till where the state enjoys the laws, rules, and regulation. Clear, children? Then further it may be noted that the territory of the state includes not only the land but also rivers, lakes, canals, inland seas if any, a portion of the coastal sea territorial waters or maritime belt, continental shelf, mountain, hills, and all other land features, along with air space above the territory. The territory of the state can also include some islands located in the sea. For example, Andaman, Nicobar, and New Moor Islands are part of India. A state exercises sovereignty over all parts of the territory. Ships of the state are its floating parts, and planes are its flying part. Even a state can lease out its territory. It can give its territory to another state. Like India has given on lease her 3 bigha to corridor to Bangladesh. Clear, everyone? So I hope so people have understood what is the state all about. Clear? So state is a territorial unity or entity. Definite territory has to be there. Large territory states are Russia, Canada. Small states like Sri Lanka, Maldives, Bhutan. A state exercises sovereignty over all parts of territory. A state can lease out its territory to another state. So I hope so children, you people have understood what is it all about. This way we have come to the end of the video, children. So I hope so you people have understood why we need a state and what the state comprises of. Like how come, that means how come state needs identified with its 4 essential elements. How could you identify the state? The presence of all the 4 without exception constitute a state. How is the state forms? So in the state you have to have a 4 essential elements. That means population, territory, government, sovereignty. Clear, children? I hope so people have understood by now what is the state, right? So if you see, a state is a politically organized people of a definite territory. The state is a territorial society divided into government, right, claiming with it, right? Then if you see, the state is a community of a person more or less numerous, permanently occupying a definite portion of territory, independent, right, of external control, and possessing an organized government in which the great body of inhabitants render habitual obedience. That means every citizen of the state have to follow rules and regulations of the state. Clear, children? Now if you see again, if I have to revise them, then let's move back to the slides now. So again, the state, again revise, I give you the revision. That means state and government are the 2 main objects of study in political science. All political studies revolves around state and government, remember children. If you see, every human being is born in society and he lives his life as a citizen of the state. He is governed by the government of the state, right? He inherits by birth the citizenship of the state. He lives under the rule of the government and carries out its laws, policies, order, rules, decisions, regulations. Clear, children? And then later on, we have studied what we have studied. The state is a sovereign political institution of the people living in organized society. Clear, children? And if you see now in ancient Greek, the word polis was used for identifying the small city states. It was because of this fact that Aristotle gave the title politics in his book, which discussed the origin, nature, and function. Clear, children? So I hope you people have understood what is the state all about. Clear? Then we have elements of the state comprised of population, territory, government, sovereignty. Then we have the population, right? Without it there can be no state. Everyone knows a small and big state with Switzerland, China, and India respectively. Then we have the territory. The state is a territorial unity, right? Small states are Sri Lanka, Maldives, Bhutan. It is under sovereignty. That means a territory should be a fixed territory, right? And is an essential element of the state. Clear, everyone? Definite territory is its essential component. A state cannot exist in the air or at sea. Clear, children? So now I hope so people have understood what is it all about. This chapter is not new to us. We are just going into the depth of the state and its four essential elements. Here I have covered only two: the territory, right, every children, right, children, and the population. In the coming videos I am going to cover other elements as well. Till then, thank you.